All right, good morning, everybody. Nikki Burnett here, Taste Life Nutrition Radio and podcast streaming live on KUHSdenver.com.
Recording in progress.
Oh, and there's a recording. All right. So today we have on Amita Sharma, who has done an amazing amount of research when it comes to perimenopause. And so we've done a lot of talking as of late regarding women, hormones, perimenopause, menopause, the changes. Why? Because, for one, it's important, but we don't talk about it enough. We need more information. We need more resources. We need people who are like Amita, who have, and we'll talk about this, but she's done an amazing amount of research when it comes to the experts out in the field, out in the world, who are there to give us information so we can learn. Sorry, I'm getting a message, trying to figure out what that is. So we can learn as much about our bodies as we can so we can move through this transition in life gracefully and hopefully peacefully and hopefully easily, which is not always easy, but the more we know, the easier it can be and the better it can be. So thank you so much, Amita, for joining me. It's been a while. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, no, too. So I can't wait for us to get into this discussion.
Yeah.
A bit of a taboo topic sometimes, but we want to get into everything.
Not taboo. We are going to talk about it, and we're going to dig in, and we're going to help a lot of people out, I hope, including me. But of course, we always start the show with gratitude. Gratitude can change the world, and I also think that it can change us physically, mentally, emotionally, relationally, all of those things that are so important because it radiates, right? It radiates from us. It is energetic. It's a really big deal. So, Amita, what are you grateful for?
I'm sorry?
What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for everything.
Oh, I've lost your audio. No. Technical things happen sometimes. Hey, Henry?
I see it. I'm watching.
Okay. So give me just a second, Amita. I think it's something with maybe our end.
No, never.
No? No, never? So we're not getting a signal. Could it be her Wi-Fi?
Yes. Good. Pointing to-
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening. Sorry, we'll get there. There's something, yeah, he's saying there's something going on your
Just give it a second.
end.
Everything is fine.
Yes, just give it a
That's
second.
what I was. Okay, now I think I see that.
Okay.
I see it on your
Yeah.
screen.
Okay. Good.
This is her. You
Right.
can see it go up and down yellow.
Okay.
She drops out.
Okay. Okay. All right. So it's okay. So anyway, let's continue. Sorry. Sometimes it happens. Okay. So you were starting with what you're grateful for.
I am so grateful for the opportunity that I'm getting now. Perimenopause, menopause, using my, journey to impact hopefully millions and billions of women out there. So I am so grateful. I can't even begin to tell you. I thought my career was over or on the decline.
Yeah.
It is the opposite right now. So I am grateful for everything that God is giving me.
Oh, good for you. I love that. I love that so much. And I'm right there with you. I'm always grateful for this show. This show gives me the opportunity to meet amazing people like you. It gives me the opportunity to reach, hundreds of thousands of people with amazing information. And going back to, the topic of menopause, perimenopause, and about it being taboo, these are the things that I believe, back, however many years ago, these are things that we used to talk about. These are things that, that, you know, moms would talk to daughters about, and it would be passed on. And, you know, these days we don't know enough about our bodies. We don't know enough about how to listen to our bodies. And this is something that I'll say over and over again, whether it's, you know, trying to understand our hormonal fluctuations or trying to understand why we're dealing with certain symptoms because of, you know, whatever imbalances that we're dealing with. But listening to our bodies is key to helping us optimize our body, right? Our body's always talking to us. And so if we can learn how to understand what it's trying to tell us, this is the stuff that can create, you know, the health of our future, right? And it's so important. So I'm grateful for you being here, and I'm grateful for this show. I'm also grateful for, we're doing a lot of renovations in our house. And it's a lot of fun to do this, and we're doing a lot of them by ourselves. So I'm learning so much about how to do things that I see all over the place, you know, whether it's, you know, painting our kitchen cabinets or putting up lighting or, you know, different things that I've been wanting to do for years now that we're finally doing. And so I'm really excited and really grateful for that, because we're in a point now where we can like constantly watch these transformations that are happening in our house, and we can check them off the list. And so it's just been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun working with my husband on all of this stuff and coming up with the ideas. And yeah, so really grateful for being able to do all of that. So I love that. All right, so let's do this. Let's dig in a little bit. I think first let's start with what you said. You know, you thought that you were sort of on the, you know, back end, the downhill of your career, of the things that you were doing. Let's start there and talk about, you know, what that was and where you are now and how that has brought you where you are now.
Yeah, so when I was going through perimenopause, it was, you know, symptoms were so aggravated that I had so much problem. I was a mess. In focusing, you know, at work, at home, I'm having hot flashes. Even at work, I'm having hot flashes right in public. And then my productivity, I mean, I just could not work properly at all. It was so bad. So I did not know what to do. I wanted to work, but here I am, a complete mess, emotional, physical, whatever, psychological, social, all the kind of things you can think about. And I said, how the heck I'm going to continue my career? Come COVID comes, right? We get a break, all of us all around the world. So did I. and I was in the middle of changing my jobs, and just so happened perfectly, like my job ended December, whatever, 2019, and the COVID started. That's when actually it changed me, and I said, hey, let me just try to do something on my own. It's a perfect opportunity right now. Mm-hmm. And I started digging, and I talked to like almost 4,000 holistic experts around the world in 2-3 years to understand, because what was happening with me was not enough for me to start a business, which I barely understood because I could barely keep up with my, situation here. Yeah. And the more I actually started digging and talking, and I said, oh my God, now it makes sense why I was such a mess. And I'm sure all these women I'm talking to, they echo the same sentiment, what I was going through. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how it started. And I said, look, let me just start going into it and see if there's anything in this. And so here I am in front of you.
So I love this. You know what, I think what can be disheartening is what you just said, is you're a mess, you can't think. You know, there's so many women, my understanding, what I've seen in my research, and just in talking with others as you did, is we often start to think we're going through dementia, right? And starting to struggle with Alzheimer's disease. And people, I mean, it really is, it can change so much about us, and it can be really scary. You're like, what is happening? Why is this happening? What's wrong with my brain? You know, I have a friend who would say, you know, because she's really smart, she's like, my brain is what I depend on. And if I'm getting brain fog, if my brain's not functioning, it's really scary because we all have to use it, but I mean, she's super smarty pants. So what is it about this phase that is so impactful on our brain function, on, how are you helping people manage that?
Yeah, so one of the issues in this phase, right, the perimenopause, I had even never heard of the word perimenopause.
Oh, wow.
Really, when it was happening to me, I knew menopause, and I did not realize that perimenopause can last up to 10 years, which probably did with me. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's crazy. So I think it's a lack of knowledge that we just don't understand. That is what the problem is. Even I thought that I'm getting heart attacks. I would get all kind of worked up. My breathing would go a little crazy. I'm sweating, and my heart would start beating very kind of, at a rate that I was not used to. And then I would forget things in the morning because I haven't slept properly. Anxiety is coming. So I'm thinking like, oh my God, I'm forgetting things. Same what you were saying. I'm thinking I'm having some heart issues, and I eat pretty healthy. So the problem is the lack of knowledge, the lack of awareness, ignorance, so to speak, right, amongst majority of the women are still, and then we feel the worst. We think the worst because that's what you see in the media. So X percentage of women, 80% of the women over 55 have one chronic condition. So you think, oh, something's going to happen to me as well, right? I think that's the fundamental problem, is the lack of awareness and lack of understanding during this phase. And to make things worse, there's not enough research, has been done by institutions as well.
Well, and so going, from brain function to what you said, heart attacks, which is, fascinating in and of itself, not in a good way, that, over however many years, the research on heart attacks and cardiovascular health has been done only on men, when hormones play such a huge role in, of course, everything that we are and all who we are. Hormones are communicators, right? They help the body understand what to do. We've got our endocrine system, so it tells the body different things that it's supposed to do. And if it's not functioning properly, then what happens? Well, sure, there can be dysfunction, and it can create cardiovascular palpitations and these things that can happen when hormones are fluctuating and kind of going all over the place. So I guess how are you helping people to manage all of these things? Because I have lots of thoughts in my head, but as we're younger women, we have so much hormonal dysfunction anyway, due to our own lifestyles, due to the toxins in our environment, to the toxins in our food, and we have these massively interruptive and terrible PMS symptoms often, which then can move us into what can be a really difficult perimenopause and menopause. So I know your focus is perimenopause and moving into menopause. Are you also speaking to women who are maybe before that point going, do it now? Let's not wait. Let's do this in your 20s and not wait till your late 30s when things are already starting to change.
Absolutely. So focus definitely is on perimenopause, menopause, because that's where we have done so much research, and I want to bring it out, right?
Yeah.
Whatever research we have done.
Yeah.
So that's the reason, because there's so much lacking. But our journey starts at the PMS, to your point, because the hormonal fluctuations are beginning to happen in the sense in our menstrual cycle, right? It happens every month to women, right? So for them to understand that, as well as they start inching towards mid-30s, nowadays the perimenopause, believe it or not, is starting in late 30s. It should start in the 40s, but it is the age of the perimenopause starting could be as early as mid-30s.
Yeah.
And up above, and so many cultures, even in US, because of the toxins, because of all the things, the lifestyle, the stress, anxiety, all the things that we have inherited from our modern lifestyle, right? So the education, the awareness has to happen when you are younger.
Yeah.
not when you are in it, which
Right.
happened to me. When you are in the storm, you don't know what to do.
Yeah, I think it happens that way probably most of the time. I think this is a really broad question, but because of all of the research that you've done, what are some of the things that you want to share that maybe people don't know? So I'm not being specific, but you've done so much research. There've got to be some really cool nuggets that you have.
So there's so much research that I've done, but on a higher level, very broader level, women need to understand, when the perimenopause is starting, right? So and we know in our body when things are not right. So typically, when the perimenopause starts, irregular periods, right? That's the first thing. So you need to make sure, instead of 28 days, what the periods are. Then so when these hormones are going up and down, what happens is the two hormones, right? They need to be balanced. So women need to understand that. Estrogen and progesterone. More than likely what happens is they are not in balance because of the fluctuation and the roller coaster ride. So what happens is estrogen becomes dominant and progesterone, there's a kind of a ratio is not the same. It should be. And that's what happens is due to that, we end up putting weight and all kind of strange things happening. And then because of the hormonal imbalance.
Yeah.
So I think in a very high, broader nutshell, we need to have our hormones balanced, even though they're declining, but they need to be in balance. So women need to understand that as a fact. And majority of the time, I think 99% of the time, they are not in balance because of all these fluctuations and the lifestyle and the anxiety, all the things that we women are now subjected because we work like 24/7. We don't have time for ourselves. We are always stressed out. We are just hyper, if we are moms, super moms, everything combined, right?
Yeah, what you're saying is so important. And it's the thing that I see so regularly in my own practice. One of my, anybody who watches this knows I'm a nerd when it comes to running labs and understanding labs, because to me, that's how I'm seeing somebody else's body talking to us, right? It's the numbers on the piece of paper. And so if we're doing a hormone panel, one of my favorites is a dried urine hormone panel. And, it can look at the progesterones. It can look at estrone, estradiol, right? It can look at your androgenic or your male hormones, because we all have them all, and how they're all working together. And what's important too is how they're being detoxified. Are we detoxifying them? Do we have certain variants, epigenetic variants, that don't allow us to detoxify well? Are we holding on to the xenoestrogens that are in the environment that are creating the elevated, crazy estrogens running around causing symptoms? And, I think it's important also to understand, because sometimes I feel like estrogen is demonized because it can create problems, right? It can, if it's too much, it's kind of that it puts on weight, and then of course fat also is sort of an endocrine, gland in and of itself, because it can produce estrogen. Sorry, I'm kind of going all over the place, but estrogen is also brain protective. So we have to have estrogen. We have to have, these hormones that are, like you were saying, in the right balance for their protective purposes. But knowing what they are, where they are, which ones are in the right place or in the wrong place, it gets pretty nitty gritty, which is the fun part of it. It's also hard, but this is the stuff that, understanding we have to know this going through this phase, that these hormones are so important to our brain function, to our heart function, to everything.
Even vaginal health.
Yes.
Right? We don't talk about that.
Yes.
But that also gets impacted during the perimenopause, this whole phase. That is a social issue, can become because of the great divorce. That is also goes on the rise. There's a data that talks about it, which is not the topic for today, but I just wanted to bring it up. It's not only the physical body, but also the impact it can have on your relationships, right?
Yeah. That's a big deal, and something that I have heard of, but not really. As I started moving through this phase, or hearing of the there's a term for it, vaginal decline, vaginal breakdown. What do you call it? There's a term.
Vaginal atrophy.
Atrophy.
Yes.
Thank you. I mean, it sounds terrible. I mean, it sounds terrible.
By the way, but I've done.
I have to say this is really funny. So we have a huge studio here. And so I'm sitting here, right here, and I've got the man who owns it is back in the back over there just dying at our conversation right now. So Henry's having fun with us talking about vaginal atrophy. But let's talk about that a little bit. What does that even mean?
So from what I understand is that because of the hormone fluctuation, the vaginal lining becomes thin.
Yeah.
It becomes dry. So when, excuse me, I'm going to talk a little bit about sexual health, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
Okay.
It's important.
Okay.
It's so important.
Okay, so what can happen is, when you are intimate, it can be painful for women specifically, and then that is because of lubrication, right? The lubrication is not there in that area.
Yeah.
The enough blood flow is not happening in that vaginal area, and it's becoming thin. So all these things could be painful, when women are intimate, and then that can also create problems in relationships. So the thing is, then you're embarrassed to talk about it. As women, we are embarrassed to talk about, forget about the vaginal atrophy, we're embarrassed to talk about perimenopause, right? As women, we don't talk about these things, is what I'm trying to say, right? And it could be, so the point is that this hormonal fluctuation is impacting your intimacy with your partner, with your husband, and if you don't have an open communication, can result into some kind of a miscommunication and all kind of relationship issues is what I'm trying to bring out, which for a lot of couples is important, right?
Yeah.
So having the knowledge of how it can impact your girlfriend, partner, wife, all these hormonal fluctuations, the perimenopause is not only important for women, but also for men. I personally think that. Because you are in it together. You're not living in isolation. You're living with someone or the other.
Yeah, I totally agree. It can be a really difficult thing. And I mean, I hear it in practice all the time. And so what are you and or your experts telling women to do in a situation where this discomfort is starting to create problems?
So what all the research that I have done, we are advocating holistic first. We are not saying don't do HRT. That's not the point. Women, if they need HRT, they need to do the estrogen patch or progesterone cream or whatever. What we are trying to say is that all these things, all this inflammation, all these aggravation that's happening during the perimenopause, which happens to me, is typically because of the inflammation that has been built up in the body, because of the, we were talking about it. So the toxins that we have inhaled, whether it's cosmetics, your household products, your stress, anxiety, whatever. So you really need to embrace a holistic lifestyle. You don't have to wait until perimenopause hits you. Actually, you should do that anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So that's what we are advocating, that, otherwise you will be taking multiple pills. Sometimes you have vaginal atrophy, then you have a brain fog, then you have a heart flash, then you have a stress and anxiety, right? Then you have a weight gain, bloating. I mean, I'm telling you, you could be on 7-10 pills. And HRT, yes, it can help you. I'm not saying it won't help you, but still, if you don't embrace a holistic lifestyle, nothing will help you.
Right.
So that's what we are advocating, is using evidence-based, research-based holistic therapies to help for self-care.
Yeah.
This is the most important thing.
Oh, totally agree. I think most of us are starting to have this understanding, especially if you're in, this world, this holistic, functional, call it what you want, world, that inflammation is the underlying issue for all issues, all symptoms, all disease. Except for, genetic conditions, right? But inflammation is the key. But we have to understand why. Why is there inflammation in the first place? It doesn't just happen. It's there because of lifestyle factors. It's there because of choices. It's there because of, sometimes we don't have a choice when it comes to what's in our air, right? But we do have a choice about what we put on our skin, what we feed ourselves, the amount of movement that we have, focusing on sleep, focusing on relaxation and meditation and prayer and the things, whatever it is that you do, exercising, walking in the grass, so many of these things. I mean, we have it. I mean, it goes, I mean, you probably know this. I know a lot of people who listen to this know my love is epigenetics. And epigenetics is lifestyle. Epigenetics is the ability for us to take control over all of these things that are going to help to mitigate symptoms and help us to live the best we possibly can. So think about what it is that you're putting on your skin, or what you're washing your hair with, or what you're washing your clothes with, or what you're cleaning your home with, or what you're putting in your yard. All of these things are so important, and we think often, I've heard this, it's just a little bit, it's not that much. But we do these things every single day, all day long, and it builds up in the tissues and it causes dysfunction, which is going to create symptoms. Menopausal or not is going to create symptoms. And so, yes, eating organic food, getting your exercise, all of these things that are so key to balancing the body and allowing it to work properly is so important.
Yeah, and the thing is, sometimes to your point, we don't know what is in our food, right? Because the food is being injected with God knows what, and right? I mean, seriously, and the meat is injected with hormones. You know, cows have been getting hormones, so we don't know what we are eating, and it's not really our fault, but it's just, what do you do? So you have to be conscious, mindful of what you're eating, the food that you're buying, and that's just so that you don't build inflammation. I was reading a research, a newborn baby nowadays, you know, the placenta has so many toxins. I'm sure you know about this research. The newborn baby blood, they tested that the placenta had over 170 toxins. Can you imagine? You're being born today with so much because the mom is, God knows, you know, that is what is happening.
Yeah, it is heartbreaking, to say the least. And what do we do about it? I don't know. I mean, you know, besides, you know, just, I mean, I guess it kind of takes me back, and this is not perimenopause or menopause, but it's impactful for the future. But it takes me back to mom and dad when they are, you know, it goes again. Sorry, I'm all over the place again. Today I'm all over the place, but it goes back to epigenetics. Mom and dad do everything that they can to be healthy, to get healthy, to prepare for conception. This is not pregnancy. This is preparing to get pregnant. And, you know, supporting liver function, supporting endocrine function, supporting, you know, eliminating symptoms and conditions, or at least mitigating, to allow the body to function properly. Because what's that going to do? It's going to create healthy sperm. It's going to create healthy egg. It's going to create healthy baby. It's going to create healthy pregnancy. And it's going to create a health for generations to come.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we talk about, you know, so many things that are outside of our control, and there are some, but we can support the body with all of these things that it needs, whether it's, you know, food or supplement, or even if it's, you know, hormonal, bioidentical hormones. But these things allow the body to function, and it will help it to properly deal with the toxins that we can't control and the other things that we can't control, right? Stress is a part of life. Toxins are a part of life. All of these things, they happen, but the body has to have the support to be able to handle it, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, some of the holistic therapies, if I may get into some of the holistic therapies, this is a good actually you know, point to get into that. Talk about, right? So talk about the cleansing, and so for example, let me just talk about Ayurveda a little bit.
Yeah.
5,000 years back, acupuncture, traditional Chinese medicines, 5,000 years back, but they talk about cleansing the system at least 2 times in a year, when during the fall and the spring. Spring cleaning, we clean our, yard and all kind of things, but cleansing yourself as well on a regular basis is important for the body to detoxify, right? But I don't know how many of us really understand, and what we end up doing is, I know a lot of my friends, they'll buy juice cleansers and start drinking juice for 3 days.
I know. Yeah. I'm like, of all things, let's go buy a bunch of juice. Let's not do that.
And your body's cleansed. It's not going to cleanse
No.
because your body needs nutrition.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. Fasting is a thing. It's important. But drinking a bunch of juice with a bunch of sugar and no fiber is not ideal, right? So what we have to understand too is either we're fasting or we're not, we're detoxifying or we're not. And in order to truly detoxify, to go on a detox, we have to have supportive nutrients for phase 1 detoxification, for phase 2 detoxification, because they only work by certain nutrients, and each phase has different nutrients in order for it to move through the process of eliminating toxins. And so to say, I'm going to do a detox and drink a bunch of juice, you may mobilize a few toxins, they'll run around in the tissue and you'll feel like crap. And then they're just going to go and they're going to go settle and they're still there. So that's no fun.
Exactly. So this is just one example, but really, if you, we all need some kind of a cleansing in the system, that's for sure, because we are ingesting a lot of toxins. But the other thing is, if you follow a certain type of a daily routine, systematically.
Well,
Did she freeze up?
yep. Sorry, we'll get it figured out. I don't know, Amita, I don't know if you can hear me, but you are frozen.
She's still connected.
Mm-hmm.
You see what says down?
Yeah. Don't know.
Recording stopped.
Oh, she probably jumped off.
Something happened on
Mhm.
her side.
Yeah. All right. I'm sure she will jump back on here in just a minute so we can continue.
How interesting.
What?
How interesting. This guy is.
I know. Oh, the things we talk about when we're waiting for the technology to work properly. All right, I'm sure that she will be back shortly. Goodness, all these messages coming in. Well, I suppose while we're waiting, I can just continue. I am not the expert that she is, but I will sort of tag on to, some of the things that she was saying when it comes to, let's see. Sorry, she's messaging me. I'm not sure what's happening. Give me 1 second. Bear with me and I will continue. So, yeah, she's not, it looks like she's not able to jump back on. I'm not sure what's happening. So, anyway, they're having a power outage. All right, well, it looks like we might be continuing on our own.
She had a power outage there.
Yeah. We'll just have her on again. Okay. So, I think that one of the things that we'll just sort of tag on, maybe continue talking about is detox. Because it is something that we hear on a regular basis is the importance of detox. And it is important. Detoxifying is, let's see. The Zoom behind me, I think, is super distracting. Can we maybe move the TV? Thank you.
All you have to do is drop.
Oh, okay. As long we'll still see her if she comes
Yes,
back.
right there.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, thank you. Oh, the technology. Anyway, so what is so, I think it's important to understand when it comes to truly detoxifying. So it can go really deep, which is what's fun about it, right? But it can go as deep as, our genetics, our epigenome. And so I've been talking a lot about epigenetics. So we'll do a quick explanation just in case you don't know or haven't heard of it. But we have our genetics, it's our hair color, our eye color, that kind of thing. But we also have locations on top of our genes that regulate gene expression, right? So it's called our epigenome, and there are these variants that literally turn on and off gene expression based on factors that are, our lifestyle factors essentially. So it's our sleep, it's our relaxation, it's our food, it's our movement, all of these things that are so important that we have control over in large part that control gene expression. So we may have autoimmune disease in our family, which I do. I have cardiovascular disease, autoimmune disease, just rampant in my family, diabetes. And my choices will either push me toward one of these things or push me away from them, right? So I don't have to succumb. I mean, we're all going to have our end, right? But I don't have to succumb to the devastating effects of diabetes if I make the choices that I choose to make to help create a healthy lifestyle, right? So point to all of that is there are also variants that can impact detoxification. There are variants that can impact our vitamin D absorption. There are variants or conversion. There are variants that can impact, all of these different metabolic processes and enzymatic activity that play a role in all of the things that we do. So knowing that, which is super cool because we can look at that and then we can start to do things, whether it's food or supplementation that is going to help with these variants that we may have. There are some will call them mutations, and I think to a degree it's not entirely correct. We can have some specific mutations, but it also is just the way we're made, right? This is just who we are. But when we have we have the ability to control this can turn off certain negative genetic expression for years, for hundreds of years. Let's see, I'm getting another text from her. She's coming back in with her hotspot. Great. So let me pull her back up. Let's see. So we'll just have that back on for now. Anyway. Huh? She said she's coming back on, yeah. She's going to use her hotspot. So, kind of piggybacking on that piece of it, we have to make sure, we don't have to, but it helps to understand our epigenetic makeup. It helps to understand our variants, but it also helps to understand that that specific nutrients in our food are the things that help us to detoxify. And, we talk about, amino acids are really important in that. And so sometimes, though, it can be helpful to lower your protein intake if you're trying to detoxify, kind of take some of that load off for a period of time. But we can't do it for a long period of time because we've got to have those amino acids for detoxification. I don't see her. She's... Okay, we're getting there. For some reason, she's not here, but she thinks she is. So We're going to get there, I promise. So I want to make sure that we are clear on what the body needs and being careful because, you know, going back to doing these juice cleanses, they're high in sugar. It's not necessarily what the body needs in order for it to function properly and can create more problem than good. So, Henry, can we move the TV back, please?
I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happening today.
That's okay. It happens. We've just been talking about detox. So, you know, I went into a little more detail about detox. So we're going to get the TV moved back over. Thanks, Henry. A little bit more. Yeah, great. Perfect. All right. So you had a power outage.
Yes, I'm joining you with the hotspot, my phone hotspot. So
Gosh.
it's still there. I don't know what happened. It never happens like this. The first time it's just poof. It happens when the storm is out there in California,
Yeah.
San Francisco.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful sunshine right now here, so I have no idea why there's a power outage.
Who knows? Crazy times, crazy times. Do you remember where it was where you left off, what you were saying?
Yeah, so we were talking about the detoxification, the toxins, and importance of having some kind of a daily routine, and really embracing all the holistic therapies. And when I use the word holistic therapies, I mean, you know, of course we know food as medicine, movement as medicine, a lot of other things like naturopathy, you know, herbs and supplements can support us. A lot of counseling, mental health, like hypnotherapy, meditation, yoga, breathing techniques, acupressure, aromatherapy, all these things, right? These are the tools that are available to us. And we're talking only about women, and we can use these tools to help ourselves for better care. And that's what we are trying to advocate as a first step. And then, of course, you need HRT or whatever. You go there. We're not saying don't go there, but as a first step, you make use of all these tools.
Yeah. Yeah, because that plays a key role because you can't go and do hormone replacement therapy. And when I say that, I'm specifically talking about bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. I'm not talking about pharmaceutical, and I'm sure you are as well. But we can't just replace hormones and expect everything to work properly when we still have a significant amount of inflammation, right? When we still have these dysfunctional issues that are going on. So we can't, we don't want to Band-Aid, right? This is what pharmaceuticals often do. Not that we don't need pharmaceuticals at times. Well, and supplements can too. They can also Band-Aid. We need to understand and address root cause issues in order for the body to function properly. And I have lost you again. I see you, but we've lost your feet again. Yeah, no, I can't hear you. Yeah. Today's just one of those days. It just happens this way sometimes. It's okay. We'll just have another one because that's what we do. So yeah, I don't know if it's, I mean, it shows that you have good connection.
Mm-hmm. Oh. I am connected with the hotspot, so there I am. I see that again.
Yep.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happening. But
it's live. So what happens when it's live, right? It's just the way it goes.
Yeah. That's why we try to record it earlier to avoid, so we can go. We don't have these issues.
Yeah.
So going back to the topic of perimenopause, menopause. I do want to say that we women can have multiple symptoms. So typically, they have recorded over 35, God knows, maybe more symptoms and a woman can have. But on an average, and I can just recount my experience, that I probably had about 5 or 6 symptoms, right? Think about hot flash coming, night sweats, then I can't sleep. Then I'm anxious. I'm having anxiety in the morning. My brain is not functioning because I didn't sleep well. I have brain fog. And then, at that time, I also put on a little bit weight around the midriff. So there's like 5, 6 symptoms right there. and so women need to understand what is it that they can go through, and they need to understand their bodies. Their bodies react differently. Some women I've seen, they start losing hair, right? So it's, and we talked about sexual health earlier as well. So it's multiple things, and it's not your only physical health. It's going to impact your relationships.
Yep.
It can, you know.
Sure.
It can impact your careers. In my case, it did. As I talked earlier, your financial, your mental health. You don't feel as confident. Your self-esteem can go down because of the changing body, changing career, changing relationships. All those things that you were talking about. One of your friends was so confident. My brain is what I depend on, and my brain is not functioning. Things that you took for granted are suddenly leaving you, right?
Yep.
So what can that happen to you as a human being? You're not going to be confident about yourself. You feel like, oh, I'm going to be on the sideways of a society, not being participant of the society. So this is much more than just being estrogen and progesterone is what I'm trying to say, right?
Yes, agreed. Yeah. So I want to hit on the topic because I know that so many people want to dig into this as much as they can, because knowing that everybody's individual, it can still be hard when we start to put on the weight. And it sticks. This is me talking right now.
It doesn't go away, I know.
It doesn't go away. And I'm going to tell you, I'm saying this because I really think that, I think that so many people can relate to this, but I eat so well. I do CrossFit 4 times a week. I meditate mostly. I pray. I walk in the grass, right? I do the things that I talk about doing. I do the things that I talk to my clients about. I do the things that I know are important. At least for the most part, right? Nobody's perfect. But over the years, I've put on probably 10 pounds. And I have done all the things that I would never ask my clients to do. To try to understand my body, to try to figure out what it needs, to try to figure out, is there something that I'm missing that I don't understand? And it just does what it wants to do. What is that?
So I think it goes back to, I'm not a medical doctor without looking at the lab results, but from the research that I have read, and the same thing, by the way, has happened to me. I used to be so skinny, but I cannot get rid of that extra 10, 15 pounds that I have put on over the years. So that, I think, as we are aging, but I think what to me makes sense is maybe there's still an information built inside a body that hasn't been cleared. To me, that kind of what makes sense from the research that I have seen and read is that maybe the body needs a little bit more cleansing, right? Maybe it still hasn't gone the whole system through the system.
Yeah.
Maybe the gut health is not excreting the way it should be, or maybe the liver is not doing the proper detoxification it should. So maybe there is a test, you are the expert, that we should do on a regular basis to really understand the inflammation in our body and what the markers are for the inflammation, so that when it reaches out there, we will resume to our original metabolism or the body weight or whatever. So I think, to me, that's kind of where, when I put 2 and 2 together, for me, I think that's probably one of the things that I notice, that when I have a good gut health, I am in good shape as well as my body weight. And if my gut health goes a little bit here and there, even for 2 days, within 2-3 days, I am like 5 pounds up. I don't know if it happens to you.
Man, it's amazing how quickly we can gain weight.
Yeah, it's like, I'm like, what the heck happened here? So then I'm trying to correlate my gut health. And that's what, if you come back to, we were talking about Ayurveda, acupuncture, and traditional Chinese medicines. And even our modern medicine talks about gut health, right? So Ayurveda literally says everything stems from your gut, a bad gut. Right?
Yep.
They're talking about that, and they're talking about 2 terms. What they call is the toxins that are accumulated, which we are talking about it. They call it ama. Ama is a Sanskrit word. And then they call it Agni. Agni means fire. So there's the stomach fire or stomach acid, what we call it in modern language here.
Yep.
So if these two things are not working, that the toxins are not getting excreted, and your stomach is not digesting properly the food that you are eating, it's talking about digestion. It's not what you eat, how you eat. It's is it digesting or not. So it's all about that, and it's very simple to understand. And I, if you are not digesting your food properly, you are still accumulating some of the toxins, and that is culminating into other things. That could be weight gain. It could be a little bit of a brain fog, because gut and brain, we know the connection, vagus nerve connection. All that is related, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, there are so many things when it comes to why we're still confused on why for ourselves, why our body's not functioning properly, right? And it's goes back to, is there still some sort of mitochondrial dysfunction? Which when there is dysfunction, it's it's gonna the foundation of it is gonna be mitochondrial, and so addressing those, and so going back to the things that we can look at, we can look at, we talked about the hormones, we can look at adrenal hormones, we can look at mitochondrial function, we can look at inflammatory markers, we can look at how food is impacting the brain, we can look at how, we talk about leaky gut. And so what's kind of fun, you were talking about fire, so we have the fire in our gut that we are supposed to have, right? We have to have that hydrochloric acid, we have to have that fire, but we can't have fire systemically. And so we can have, so they all, they'll say if your gut's on fire, your brain's on fire, which is true. If you have leaky gut, you've got leaky brain, but you have to have fire in the right places. So I hope that makes sense, because it always makes sense in my mind. When we go on, acid blockers because we have heartburn, we're squashing that fire, which is a really bad idea. But we want to squash the fire when we have, this chronic inflammatory response that's creating problems and creating symptoms. So I don't know a lot about Ayurveda, but I love the approach and the way that it helps you to kind of visualize what's going on in the body. We have all these scientific terms for it, but the coolness, the wetness, right? Isn't there a wet or a moist or a something? and the heat, and all of these different ways of describing bodies, and how then to balance it, and then the amazing herbs.
Yes, interestingly, I was reading a research yesterday. They were talking about the body's changing too. We have to accept, right? A woman's body, the hormones are on decline. We know that, and the interesting thing they were talking about is the gut microbiome of a woman changes over when the hormones are changing. So our body is changing. So the fact that if we have put on 10, 15 pounds is because the body in our system is changing. And the funny thing is, it's actually hilarious. They were talking about the gut microbiome of a woman is, as she gets older and the hormones decline, represents more of a man's gut microbiome. Can you believe that? I couldn't even fathom like this. What does it mean? So I need to dig a little bit deeper into what exactly does it mean. Like the gut microbiome of a woman is more in line with the man's gut microbiome. I don't know. I have to understand this a little bit more to say, but I thought it was hilarious what they're talking about. I'll send you the paper. Maybe
yes,
you can make a little
please.
More about it.
I would love to know more about that. That's fascinating. And I wonder too, if, so my mind goes to, is that a natural part of life for the microbiome to more mimic a man's, or is there something in our, in the environment or whatever that is creating it to look more like a man's? And what can we do, whether it's the food we eat or if we do certain supplements or other lifestyle factors that build our female microbiome? I don't know.
Yeah, but so that's why, the fact that I'm citing Ayurveda is because of the gut part, right? They lay so much emphasis on the fact that your gut health is the most important for your body to function properly. And now, and we need to feed our gut with the diversity of food,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how many of us really eat a variety of foods, like the rainbow diet as an example, or different taste on a daily basis.
Yeah.
That is what
Yes.
we need to feed the gut microbiome with multiple things like fermented foods, right? We know that prebiotics, probiotics, different. So Ayurveda talks the same language, but we are seeing this in the modern medicine. And they talk that you do different taste,
Yeah.
6 taste. It talks about that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's basically saying, okay, eat your bitter food, eat your fermented food, right? It's basically saying the same thing in a different way, right?
Yeah.
If, you know, like your sour would be fermented, your bitters would be, you know, I don't know.
Dandelion.
Bitter gourd,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
For
yeah.
example, right? Things like that, because it helps the digestive enzymes to kind of start functioning. So it's talking the same language, but in a different kind of a era, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think it's amazing, and I have a friend who is actually going to nutrition school now, but she started out as a chef, but everything that she does is about flavor and what the flavor does and how it impacts the body. And flavor is such a gift, right? Because it helps us to enjoy our food, but it's also medicinal. I mean, it's like you said, it's the bitters. Bitters are a thing. Bitters, you know, now we think of bitters for cocktails. Bitters are for helping us to digest our food, and then the sweet has a place, and the what are the other ones? There's the spicy. I love spicy.
Yeah,
You know,
salt,
all of those,
salt
the salty,
has a place,
the savory. Right? Yeah. And so they're all really important to have them all as a part of a diet, as well as the colors. You know, so many people will tell me every day I do chicken, broccoli, and rice. I'm like, you got to stop. Stop with that. And they think they're being healthy. I'm like, this is not okay.
Yeah, you need to have a variety of foods. And then the other thing is that the foods, I mean, you are in the food science, so I should not be talking about food, but
Please do.
I'm just citing Ayurveda stuff. Is that talking about eating the foods according to the seasons?
Yes.
So let's say I'm eating watermelon all the time in December. And we all forget which season the food should be, right?
Yeah.
The right season with the right food.
Yeah.
So we are all eating mixed match, because somewhere in the world the watermelon is being grown, like in Thailand as an example, in December, and it's coming from Thailand to it. I'm just making it up, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, it's true. You know, really, you know, I think if we look at it, you know, take for instance fruit. You know, fruit is a gift. It's beautiful, it's delicious, it's fun, but so often in a lot of places it helps us to put on weight to get ready for the winter, right? And so we have to we want to think about it to the best of our ability. Now, being here in Colorado, we can't really have, you know, vegetables too often in, you know, March, because it's flipping cold. But to the best of our ability, yes, we our bodies have seasons, the earth has seasons. However, you know, doing our best to sort of mold those together, you know, it really is the ideal way of doing things. Now we've got to modify where we have to, but so yes, I totally agree. Yeah. So I think, though, that we've not talked a lot yet about what you're actually doing to help people. And you have an app, and you have lots of people who are working with you to reach as many people as possible. So let's talk about what you're doing to help every woman that you can.
Yeah, so all this research we talked about over the last 3 years, so we thought, how can we help more women, right? And we wanted to make it affordable, because this kind of information sometimes is only, only the more fortunate or women, or in the sense who are, economic point of view. So what we have done is we've created an app. The idea with the app is that we either put a woman in perimenopause or postmenopause as a first step for them to understand what is it that they're going to go through, and what kind of lifestyle and dietary modifications they can make to help themselves, right? So the app initially priced less than $10 would be a self-serve app. A lot of apps are there, but this is a completely self-serve app. Now, with the self-serve, you will learn about different things that we are just talking about. You learn about how Ayurveda can help, and the dietary modifications, the lifestyle, the exercise, the aromatherapy, hypnotherapy, meditation, yoga, all the works, right, we're talking about. So that's what app is showing you. And then after you know what your peri or pause, based on your concern, you can go dig a little bit deeper into brain fog, as an example, hot flash, bloating, and you understand why bloating is happening. What is it that you can do? So that's what the app is designed for. And if someone needs coaching, then we can have a coaching that is available for women to understand. Or also there'll be sort of like a group or a peer-to-peer support and other groups that they can get into. And in addition, what I want to bring is holistic experts on a weekly basis, international, that the women can understand. Not only all the research is available in the United States, maybe UK is further ahead of the United States in this topic as an example. So the women can understand and ask questions from the top experts around the world, right? So that's what we are trying to do, and that's what we have, we are launching with this whole idea of women understanding this phase of their life and having the ability to learn from best of the experts wherever they are from, and ability to ask questions. Now, if they need one-on-one support, then of course we can have a concierge service available at the later point after a month or 2 months.
Yeah, that's amazing. I really love that. And how long have you had the app available?
The app, we launched it, but we are relaunching it again. So it's, we're going to launch it in September, October timeframe. Okay. So, and we've done a lot of work as well as doing a lot of sessions in the last 2-3 years with a lot of women. They were not being done through the app, but they were doing a lot of other sessions, right? Like an expert sessions, those kind of things. But the app would be available now in September and October, the way I'm explaining it.
Great. Very good. And so the app is Nourish Doc, yes?
Bloom by Nourish Doc, yes.
Okay. And so how can people find you? How can they get more information about you? I'm assuming they could just go to the app store to get the app.
So wait for the app in the sense like, we are just doing the final thing. So the best way is to go to our website. When the app is 100% baked, it's literally the 9th month of baby coming out, right? Few weeks away.
Woohoo! So exciting.
Yeah. So the contractions are probably beginning to happen anytime.
So anxious and ready for it to happen.
Yeah, exactly. We are literally at that stage,
Good.
back and forth. Right now the best way is to go to our website as soon as we feel, okay, 100% QA, QC checked. We are going to be putting the links on our website and on all of our socials. The app is out. Women can start testing, checking it out. And so go to our website, www.nourishdoc.com.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited. I hope that you will be sure to let me know so I can check it out and download it and do all of the things and share it. Because, again, going back to needing more information, needing more guidance, helping people to understand where to go is really just so important. It's so important. We want to live the best that we can, right? For this last half of our life, this is the time we've got wisdom, we've got grace, we've got knowledge, we've got all of these things. Who wants to feel bad? So let's feel good. I think
Absolutely.
we've got a lot to do. Yeah, perfect. Well, I'm so grateful. I'm sorry that we had some technical difficulties, but we still got really great information out there. We will have links to all of your website, all of your information on all of the videos. We'll send you everything. And then we'll just do it again. We'll do it again where, and hopefully we don't have the technical difficulties. If we do, so we do. Again, it's part of being live, and it's just the way that it goes. But we'll continue to move forward, and I'll be excited because next time you'll have the app, and I will have used the app, and we'll
Yes.
have some good stuff to talk about, and some new information. So I'm excited for that. So we'll definitely have you on again.
Thank you so much. I really apologize. The power is still out. We still have the power outage. I have no idea. So thankfully, my hotspot was working.
Yeah.
So I was able to come back. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it's so embarrassing for me. And it never happens. It's never happened like that. But I don't know why there's still a power outage.
Who
Yes.
knows? Who knows? It's just the way it goes. So it's not a big deal at all.